This nameless woman from Samaria, we're told she comes to the well. Now, there could be nothing more ordinary than a well. In that part of the world at that time, every town and every village had a well. There was nothing unusual about it. And everyone, or at least all the women who did the work, came to the well. So nothing exceptional about the well, nothing exceptional about this Samaritan woman without a name coming to draw water. It could hardly be more ordinary. A church. Well, every town and every village has at least one, doesn't it? And it's not true to say that everyone comes, but a lot of people come, not just for the dedication, and a lot of them happen to be women, but it's just another church. Like any town or village, it's not St. Peter's in Rome, is it? In some sense, it's just another building. What could be more ordinary? Just another church, just another building. And yet, at the well, something absolutely extraordinary bursts from that which is so ordinary. Because at the well, the woman meets Jesus, and that makes all the difference. It's not so much the well, but the well that he is, the bottomless well of the divine mercy. That's the well from which she draws when she comes to the town's well. The bottomless abyss of the mercy of God. And in the power of that mercy, of which this candle speaks, she discovers who Jesus is. He looked to be just another troublesome Jewish traveller. And that's how she relates to him first up. You a Jew talking to me a Samaritan, you a man talking to me a woman? What's up with you? But once the mercy breaks into her life, she who has had a troubled life, a life of looking for the right thing in the wrong place. I mean, you have to give her full marks for trying. She's tried marriage 5 times. She's tenacious, resilient. But she hasn't found what she's looking for. So she's you and me. We gather here tonight as a bunch of Samaritan women. We may not have 5 marriages, but you take the point. It's only when she meets Jesus at the well that she begins to find what she's been looking for through her troubled life without finding it. And it's the mercy that unlocks the door for her. She eventually sees that this is not just another troublesome Jewish traveller, a man who should not be talking to this woman, but this is God with us. The extraordinary bursts free from the heart of the ordinary, and then she discovers who she really is, not the sinful Samaritan woman to turn your back upon, to shun. She discovers who Jesus is, and in that moment she discovers who she really is. Finally, she comes to that moment of truth. And then she's able, and finally able, to worship, as Jesus has said, in spirit and in truth. And this is true for all of us Samaritan women. It's only when we encounter the infinite mercy that is in him that we discover who Jesus really is, who we really are, and we can worship in spirit and in truth. as in the depth of our being, even without being able to recognise it, we want to do. She then rushes off in mission. The mercy gives birth to mission. She runs off and tells anyone she can find she has met the one who has told her everything that she has ever done. She's met the one who has unlocked the door of mercy and who has shown her the truth of who she is. This church we dedicate tonight. Now, it's a religious ritual. It has its beauty and power, as you shall see. But it's not just another ceremony. We've had a lot of ceremonies in these Easter days. But in dedicating this church, we say it's not just another building. We say this is holy ground. It is the work of human hands, human work, human money. But tonight is something that God does in making this building a holy place, holy ground. Why? Because here we Samaritan women and any of the other Samaritan women's out there who care to come, here you will meet Jesus. And he will do for you and for anyone who comes, he's indiscriminate, what he did for the Samaritan woman. He will reveal the truth of who he is, and he will reveal the truth of who you and I are, and therefore what we can become. In other words, we say that this church is a bottomless well of an infinite mercy. And what could be more extraordinary than that? So again, here tonight, the extraordinary bursts free of all that is most ordinary. Here the risen Christ is met, and here hope therefore is born, real hope, not cosmetic hope that vanishes with the dawn, but the real, deep and lasting hope without which the human heart shrivels. How strangely right it is that we do all of this on Anzac Day. At first I thought it was a quirky choice for a dedication, and yet the sacrifice that is the very core of what we celebrate on Anzac Day is also the very core of what we celebrate here this evening. This place will become Calvary, where the sacrifice of Christ is celebrated not just as once upon a time, it's not that, but as here and now in Maroochydore. And the sacrifice will become the feast, the altar will become the table, and we feast upon the one who is sacrificed, his body, his blood, just as Christ became for the Samaritan woman, a feast that never ended for her, so for us. So on this day of remembrance, we too consecrate this altar to be the altar of sacrifice and the table of the feast. Here we will say, in memory of me, do this, lest you forget. And we will remember at such depth and with such power that what we celebrate becomes present. Jesus is here and now to be encountered in the sacrifice and in the feast. On behalf of the entire Archdiocese and the Church beyond, I congratulate everyone who has been working with God to create this holy ground, to dig this well. I congratulate first and foremost Joe Duffy, who has been parish priest of this parish for a very long time and has been one of the most remarkable and most gifted pastors of the Archdiocese of Brisbane. Without Joe's vision, his pastoral sense, his energy, even in his 70s, and with all the gifts that Joe brings to the priestly ministry, this would not have happened. So here tonight, I pay a very, very special tribute to Joe Duffy, who is a very, very special priest. Thank you very much, Joe. But also to the people of St Vincent's Healthcare. This is not a church in isolation. The well, as it were, exists in the midst of a whole village that has been created. And again, I pay tribute to the great vision, the vision not only of health and aged care, but the vision of the church that goes hand in hand with that. So the combination of a formidable organisation like St Vincent's Healthcare, who do such magnificent work in caring for the vulnerable and the sick and the frail, the combination of St Vincent's Healthcare and Joe Duffy and Marty Larson and all of those who have worked on the project, this could not have happened. This is a new form of collaboration. So it's saying something to the rest of the church as we move into a future where nothing can be quite as it has been in the past. But really, this is the work of an entire community, and how right it is that we gather in such numbers here tonight. So I congratulate all of you, whoever you are, who are part of this parish, because you have been absolutely part of the journey, and without you, this building could not stand, and it could not become the power that it has become and will become more and more as we move into the future. The church bears the beautiful name of Stella Maris, Star of the Sea. So our thoughts turn to the Mother of Christ, who broods over this church and this community. She again was just an ordinary young Jewish woman, but she was touched in the most extraordinary way, and she became the living well that gave birth to the living water that is her Son. So my prayer, and the prayer of the whole church here tonight, as I stand among you, is that she, who is light of every ocean and mistress of the deep, that she will never fail to guide this community, this living temple, on the journey into the future, that she herself, bearing her Son, will be the light that dispels every darkness. Star of the Sea, Stella Maris. Amen.